Today we got the Taylor Bond Street soap again, shaving cream that is. And this one here is the Jermyn Street collection. It is made for sensitive type skin. It does have a slight scent to it: bergamot, lemon, lime, lavender, musk, patchouli, vanilla, and it's very light for my nose. Somebody else might be able to pick up a lot more of that scent. Not that my nose picked it all up, because it's very well blended, if you will. Just like the peppermint one, it comes with the extra lid inside. That's what it looks like. And it's, yes, it's pretty soft. It's cream. And just like the peppermint one, it's got 5.3 ounces there in the container. As it goes for availability and prices, I have found here of late that it's kind of all over the map. I have found this shaving cream anywhere from $13, $14 on up to $20. Just depends on where you shop. And for me, I found mine on Amazon for, I think this was like $14.21, or I get the peppermint mixed up. Both of them are very closely priced, but right around the $14 mark, which for me, that was about as low as I was able to find it. Because like I say, normally it's price-wise, it's a little bit on the north side of things. And decided that, as goes for the aftershave, it's been a moment since I used the fine platinum. Decided this would be a good one to go right along with it. Already put a hot towel to face this morning, and already put some Proraso Preshave on. And let's see here, I guess you might say the real feature of the day, at least for me it is. This is a Pal Injectomatic. Came out back in the 50s. I have seen different versions of this. This band comes in different colors, but pretty much the rest of it will be the same, unless it's manufactured somewhere else. And I'm not real sure. In other words, I don't want to mislead anybody because I'm not 100% sure. But I think in England, where this, actually Scotland, where this is manufactured, this handle might be a different color. I've seen like either a black or a dark green. The one I got when I got this came with the instructions, and which is pretty cool. Now these instructions have been folded up for a while. This is pretty brittle. But one of the things that I did notice about this sort of thing, it says it has factory. Back then, factories were in Pittsburgh, New York, Montreal, Canada, Glasgow, Scotland, Argentina. In other words, there was a few locations where these may have been manufactured, but the instructions are pretty cool. It's one of those things that once you get a hold of something like this, to me it's quite valuable. Not only are you get the instructions of the time on how to use the shave gear that you got, but also what the thought process was back then. And trying to be very careful with this. Easy to follow instructions, but they're really cool. Here's the case that it came in. I'm going to take this out so it'll fall out. That's what the front of it looks like. Pal Inject-O-Matic. And in case it's kind of hard, you can kind of see where the ejector blades go. This is where the handle goes, and right underneath the handle, that's where those instructions were at. And this one here, it does tell you on the back side that it was made in USA on the back of the case. And this was the injector dispenser that was inside there. And still has a blade in there, but I'm going to leave it in there. I'm not going to use it. But this is, for me, this is like really cool. Got this what I would call on the cheap. I think I paid $30 for it. Not very much money, considering what you're getting. Just a really nice find. Got this a while back. I think it was right before Thanksgiving. And I guess you might say just been kind of waiting for the right moment to go ahead and use it. I like to say I've got a few of these. Like this band here might come in blue, might be a black, depending on if it's quote unquote faded at all. I've seen red, I think green. I've seen a few versions of it. Made back in the 50s. It's oh, I guess I should show you. Got it whipped up here in my bowl with a horsehair brush. I didn't mention in yesterday's video that this style of brush is really good for painting. I don't do a whole lot of face lathering, and when I bowl lather, I use the swirling motion. I just keep on working it that way, and it works well for me. And this brush does not have a lot of backbone. So for some people that might be off-putting, may not appreciate that. But for me, since I'm a painter and a bowl latherer, I have learned over time how to lather with these brushes just by using the swirling motion in the bowl. And if you've had any experience with natural bristle brushes, mouthful there, tongue twister, and if you've used anything in the way of a synthetic brush, the two whip up differently. And it also applies to boar, horse, or badger. They all whip up differently. And for me, the horsehair is probably, is probably one of the easier ones to use as it goes for natural bristle. And it may have been just that I took a liking to it, understood it right from the get-go, perhaps. And for me, it's one of the ones that seems to whip up pretty quick, right along with a synthetic. I haven't had any issues with my horsehair brushes with the bristles getting tangled up. I'll be honest with you, I haven't had any trouble. And I think it has a lot to do with just my style of bowl lathering. But like any other natural bristle, there's going to be a certain amount of maintenance to it. So if you're a person that's usually on the go, in a hurry, whatever the case might be, that just doesn't want to spend the time to take care of a natural bristle, they do make a synthetic that's a horsehair knot that is pretty decent. It seems like the bristles are thicker than the natural one, but seem to whip up pretty close to being the same. The one that I have in particular has quite a bit of backbone, and it might have been just how it was set. That in the loft is a little shorter than this one here. Face it, over the years, there was a point in time where horsehair was not a good thing to have in the way of brush because of anthrax and stuff like that back in the day. So keeping all that in mind, you kind of understand why horsehair is not all that popular, because it has that, I guess you might say, that following, that note of the history. But nowadays, this one here, if I remember right, when I got this one here, I think it was on sale, so I think it was just under $13. I have like 3 of these. Yeah, as you can tell, it's a painter. To me, it's a great brush. I think these are not as easy to find as they used to be. I'll see if I can't find a link to one. Man, I may not be able to find it. There is one thing to, you may have to hunt for these Pal Injectomatics, but generally they're in pretty good shape when you do find them. But they're not as plentiful as Schick Injector, because Schick, you know, had the patent and made hordes of them. So you may have to hunt a little while for one of these, and they do make a adjustable one also. About like all the rest of the injectors, sometimes you might struggle trying to get that blade inserted there. Could be a bit challenging. Usually with a little bit of practice, you get pretty decent at it. I don't think I mentioned the blade. The blade's a Personna. That's pretty much my go-to blade. I also get blades. I've got some that are from Ted Pella, as well as, of course, you know, Supply. I guess you might call them the modern injector folks. I have one of those. Awesome shaver. If you use a Supply injector, I have a tendency not to load the blade like an injector. I take it apart, place the blade in there, put it together. It makes it, if you do it that way, you can use the mini hair shaver blades, Personna blades, and you can use those blades in that injector, because you can take it apart like that. That makes it pretty nice. Depends on, in other words, what the availability of injector blades are to you. For me, I always found that it was easier to find mini hair shaper blades. There is a little bit of feedback with this shaver, just a little. I find it pretty easy if you're a buffer to buff with one of these. Kind of feel like, sometimes I feel the urge to do it when I'm doing a cross. Against the green pass. Because to me it seems more natural to do it that way. I don't think this shaver is aggressive, in my opinion. If there's any issues that anybody may have, I think it has more to do with the blade than the actual shaver itself. These blades are not, I guess you might say, they're not like a DE blade by any means. They're thicker. They're going to give you a different shave feel. I've gotten used to them. There are some Schick injectors. One, would be the E, I guess it is, type E. E and G look an awful lot alike, so it takes a little bit of a effort to discern which one you have. I think the E, if I remember right, has 2 patent numbers. G only has 1. And in some cases, I remember reading about on their handle on an injector, Schick injector, the seam that runs down through the center. Some have a seam, some don't. I don't trust that one as being a telltale sign which one you got, because those handles were used interchangeably, it seemed like, and when I'd have one with either one patent number or 2 patent numbers, some would have the seam, some would, and it would cross both of them. So no, I don't trust that one. I go along with the patent numbers. And there are some other telltale signs with a Schick injector, but yeah, it can be quite exciting collecting these things and using them. Got the Crown King alum block complete with rubber band this morning. Like I say, the scent on this soap is pretty, this shaving cream is pretty mild, so be honest with you, it does have a scent, but it's so lightly scented I feel like you can use whatever aftershave you want. Don't see that the two are going to interfere with each other. Not with my nose. I don't have much left of my special mix here of menthol and peppermint. Yeah, this container felt like I was pretty lucky. That most of the time you find, I think it's the 8-ounce ones. This one here, 16. The spout on this one here has got a small opening. For me, it makes it pretty easy to control on how much you're going to pour out. If you've never seen it, there it is. It's not very big, really easy to use. Some of them, you know, they're a little large and you have to be kind of careful. A whole lot will come out at one time. It doesn't really bother me too much, but if you're trying to, I guess you might say, minimize how much you're using, make it last. For me, this one here, Marshall's, TJ Maxx is where I found this one here. In between Marshall's and TJ Maxx has been my, I guess you might say, the places where I find most of these treasures. Otherwise, on a rare occasion, do I find it at Ross. This is the containers, the old style. They've changed the shape of the container. As far as I know, everything inside is still the same. Got my dad some of this. He really liked it. I don't think the two smell the same though, if you're wondering. These don't match. But that's a lot of times that's how it is with me. Sometimes I look and, okay, I want to use Hatch soap and I want to use that aftershave and the two don't match, don't come close. But that's just the kind of mood I'm in that day. It's kind of one of those deals, it's your shave, so make it the way you want it. Hope everybody's doing well. And with all the craziness that's going on nowadays, for me, I'm working at home. It's different. The kind of work I do, in other words, at work, I usually have 3 monitors sitting at my desk, and it's a lot easier to work that way. And now I don't have 3 monitors, and you know, all your normal setup is a lot different at home. So it's a little bit of a transition. But plus, you know, the company I'm working for, you know, they're trying to make their adjustments, you know, trying to make sure everything's going the way it needs to. It's just not something that, you know, you go through every day. Hope everybody's doing well. Stay safe and smooth shaves to you.